everybody, I'm the CHALL, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel, and welcome to another transfer reports video. So we're today going to be talking about Amos's new contract and his thoughts on it. We're also going to talk about some rumours linking us and a couple of other clubs with a goalkeeper called Nathan Baxter, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. But first of all, we're going to start off with this massive club update from the CEO and Chief Executive of the club, Gavin Baldwin. So before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. And for now, guys, let's get into this transfer report. So taken officially from the club's website, we have an update. It was first released on August 12th, so only yesterday. And this is what Gavin Baldwin had to say. And brace yourselves because it's a long statement. So get your popcorn, get your Coke and sit back and relax. Dear Rovers fans, it is with more optimism I write to you this month, and I need to thank you all for that. Your response to our In Rovers Supports We Trust strategy has been overwhelming. In the past 4 weeks, our refund liability from last season's sales has gone from significant six figures to less than £30,000. While we are not out the woods, your support in light of this pandemic has been truly magnificent. We are still in for a difficult year. A lack of income from ticket sales is not something we can endure for long. While we are ever hopeful we can welcome you back to the Keepmoat Stadium soon, we are mindful that if that cannot happen, then once again we'll have a situation where we have a significant refund liability on season tickets, no ticketing income and potentially salaries to pay without the support of a furlough scheme. The lockdown period was tough for Doncaster Rovers and Club Doncaster as a group, although we are now able to operate our weekly car boot market and are once again taking bookings at the Sports Village. Our core income streams have still not resurfaced. This has unfortunately meant we've had to consider changes to our staffing structure, and Darren will have to be wise in how he uses the transfer market. Loan signings will be key to our squad structure next season as they offer the short-term flexibility required to steer us through these difficult and uncertain times. Darren and Adam have already begun making their moves though, with Jason Lakilo already confirmed and with other conversations progressing positively. With the salary cap agreed, we expect to be finalising negotiations soon with a handful of players. In Darren, we have one of the most resilient managers I've worked with, and he would rather give every chance to his preferred target joining before looking at alternatives, so please be patient with news as he likes to follow this process. Sometimes even after deals have been agreed, we have to wait until the parent club completes other prior transactions before we can announce too. One thing that I know you'll be delighted to see, as I was, is that James Coppinger has signed a contract extension. I'm so pleased that James has stayed on for one more year. He has been a wonderful servant to this club and we can now give him the send-off he deserves. It would have been devastating for all concerned if Doncaster Rovers' career ended without celebration. With the players now back in training, we are edging ever closer to the start of the season, and with everyone in football working at breakneck speed to accomplish the equivalent of 3 months' work in the space of just a few weeks. Based on some of the obstacles around COVID-19 and the need to have specific bubbles as we return to training, some of our pre-season friendlies will be behind closed doors at training grounds, where we are able to have media present to report or stream these. We will do. But some of our early fixtures, this may not be possible. That being said, Darren believes we've set up a good pre-season plan with competitive games against a number of EFL sides and at least one EPL side to be confirmed too. We hope to be able to stream our final pre-season game from the stadium and are finalising those plans with both the opposition and EFL as we speak. We are still expecting our season to start on this September the 12th, and league fixtures are expected to be released in around 2 or 3 weeks' time. We know early games will be behind closed doors alongside all other clubs in the EFL. We are in continued dialogue with the EFL about iFollow and the streaming services we can offer. They have had some great feedback based on the services they provided to championship clubs for the end of last season and are using that to guide decision making. Away from league matters, draws will be taking place immediately for the early rounds of the FA Cup and the League Cup. The plan is still for all games to take place, and with the postponed Euro 2020 tournament impacting the end of the season and the start of the season delayed by 5 weeks, this will mean the clubs will have a phenomenal amount of fixtures to fulfil in a short space of time. When football does return fully, it will be non-stop. It has been said before, but this is a difficult year for us financially and the opportunities to grow revenue are limited. We were informed this week, for instance, that the FA Cup prize money will be half of its usual amount, coupled with the issues we already know about through games behind closed doors and limited capacities when fans are allowed in, and you can understand why it will be a difficult year. Your continued support and patience, as I am aware will have tested both these last few months, is invaluable. I and everyone at the club generally cannot wait until we are back playing football in front of you all. Stay safe. Gavin Baldwin, CEO of Doncaster Rovers. I applaud you, Mr. Baldwin. What a statement. And I'll repeat this again in previous videos. That's why I love this board. They don't sell us any BS. They come out, they say exactly how it is. And you know what? Just an amazing statement. Absolutely incredible statement. They've said exactly what's going on. They revealed everything that can be revealed at this stage. And the board have just been very open with the fans about what's happening and the support that they've received, and the support that we've given them. They give us support and we give it back to them. That is how a club is supposed to be run. And that's the one thing I can grant the EFL off, and that is not ruining our club. But I do feel sorry for the other clubs that have been ruined by the EFL. But in all positiveness, because this is a positive video, one of the big statements that really surprised me, and not surprised but excited me, is that we've got a handful of signings in negotiations that could be announced soon. Like he said, there's a process that Darren Moore follows. There's a process specifically that he goes through. So us as fans, we'll be patient, we'll be waiting, ready for the announcements. Lakilo's a great signing on a 1-year deal. 1 year, get to look at the kid. If he shows potential, then we'll get him on an extended contract. And the club actually admitted loan signings are going to be key for us in terms of these financial ruins this season. So, the fact that the club have actually come out and said loan signings are going to be key because financially it's going to help us steer us through the dark times before we get back up to speed with the rest of the funds. I think for the club to come out and say that is very brave but also very truthful, and I think that the club are really good at being truthful with the fans. So, I knew from months and months and months ago that loan signings were going to be absolutely key for this season. We're rumoured to get loads of loan players this season, loads of decent Premier League loanees. We've got loads of, young Premier League players on free contracts that have been released by the Premiership clubs. And what we're looking at here is a season full of a couple of free transfers, no undisclosed fees or any transfer fees or anything like that. It's just going to be free transfers and loanees for me. And you know what? In this current climate, I would take that any day, especially with the loanees. Now, of course, we've spoken in past videos over the last couple of weeks about rumoured players that we're interested in. Players like this Nathan Baxter that I'm going to talk about at the end of the video, Armando Broja, Rayan Tulloch from West Brom, Broja, of course, from Chelsea's academy. We're still in contact with Cameron John, Niall Ennis, Jacob Ramsey from Wolves and Aston Villa respectively. We're still rumoured to bring them in on another season-long loan if they're prepared to offer them out. And I know that, a lot of people would be happy if Ennis came back, and same with John, same with Ramsey for me, absolutely, because Jacob Ramsey shows such attacking intent on loan in the short time we've seen him last season. So, I think it'd be great to get him on a 1-year loan again. There's rumours of a championship loan instead, but the fact they're staying in contact with them even to this day is great. So that gives me good signs for those ones. But let's see what players come out of this. Now, the fact the club have actually come out and said, loan signings are going to be key for us this season. They've not sold us any BS. They've not sold us any rubbish. They've actually come out and said, yes, loan signings are going to be key for us this year because financially, that's the only route we've got to go down. Or one of the only routes. But, we're taking it as it comes and we trust in the process. That is what an ownership should be. An owner who trusts in the manager's process and doesn't, throw him under the bus. That's what many owners have done that's ruined football clubs. They've put managers under the bus. Our owners don't do that. They've put the trust in the process. Darren Moore trusts in the owners trust Darren, and you know there's a whole connected trust with the fan base as well. We are all one club. It doesn't feel like with Doncaster Rovers the owners are above the fans or the manager. It feels like everyone's on the same playing field, and it feels like we all are the top dogs of this club. We all feel like we're top of the club. And that is great to be part of this club, because we're a club that actually is on the same level playing field as the fans, the manager, the staff, the players. Whereas other clubs, they feel, owners feel like they're top dog and they'll throw everyone else under the bus. They don't care. They'll run it like a dictatorship. That is nowhere near what we do. And that's why I'm glad we've got an owner like David Blunt. We've got a amazing CEO and a chief executive like Gavin Baldwin. And somebody replied to something on that I commented on social media recently. He told me this is the best board we've had in club history. And you know what? I think you're right. And in fact, no, scratch that. I don't think you're right. I know you're right. This is the best board we've had in club history. In 150 years of club history, it'll be 151 next season. 151 years of club history nearly, and this is the best board we've had because they've been truthful, they've not sold us any BS, they've always been kind, they've always been supportive, they've always said thank you, they've always shown that we are just as much a part of the club as they are. And this gives me a lot of exciting promise for the future. Yes, we need a lot of strength in depth in the squad. Yes, there's a long way to go. However, with how the club's run, if we can just get those finances back up to speed and we recover financially, I think we could be one of the best run clubs. I think we already are one of the best run clubs in the country. But I think we could be an even better run club in the country with more money in the bank. And that'll come through promotions, and hopefully we do get promoted this next season into the Championship. And then maybe, you never know, I think the highest we've finished is just outside the top 10 in the Championship. I think that's the highest ever finish for the club. So imagine if we could defy all odds and we get into the playoffs for the Championship in a few years' time, and we get promoted at Wembley to the Premier League. Imagine the money that would come in. And I said in a previous video, don't put high wages because it will come back to bite us in the backside if we get relegated from the Premier League. So, this is a very exciting period for the club because we've got a board who cares, we've got a board who doesn't sell us any BS, we've got a fan base that, mostly are completely behind, they trust 100% in everything. There's a minority out there that like to cause trouble, but we deal with them as a fan base in a peaceful way. And I don't want this fan base to become divided. I want this to become a collective fan base. And I want to be one of the channels that, combines the fan base. So, Doncaster Rovers at the minute is very, very exciting. And I'm really excited to see who the finalised negotiations are going to be for. Like I said, loanees, free transfers, undisclosed, it don't matter. I just want to see signings. I'm going to be patient, I'm going to be careful, I'm going to wait and see who's coming to the club. I'll keep reporting transfer rumours and rumoured news and rumoured talks from Twitter and other social media sites on the Transfer Reports videos like normal. But once the finalised signings are announced, we're going to get an absolute, report on this channel. And we're just going to be absolutely over the moon with these signings. So that's talking about Gavin Baldwin's statement. That's a long part of this video. But now let's get into the smaller parts of this video. Let's talk about our next story. And the next story is about the new contract for our academy left-back, Danny Amos. So when Danny Amos was offered a new one-year deal, he said on the club's website he was absolutely delighted. The 20-year-old has made consecutive starts for Darren Moore's side before the season was curtailed and is looking to build on that with more first-team starts in the 2020-2021 season. He officially said, before the lockdown, I had little breakthrough. I played against Wycombe Wanderers and MK Dons, and I was due to play against Wimbledon, so I was a bit gutted when that got cancelled. I got the international call-up for Northern Ireland's under-21s, and that was about time too. I was really pleased to be picked for that. It was just unfortunate timing, but you've just got to crack on. I would be pushing and hoping to get some more call-ups for the 21s and do the best I can do over there as well. But coming back to Doncaster is the main thing. Playing week in, week out is what I really want to do. Moore says he wants Amos to challenge for starts in the first team this season, and Amos will be vying with Reece James for the left-back role. Amos added, I've just got to do the best I can in training day in, day out. Obviously, Reece James has been one of the players of the season, and he was doing very well before the injury, but all I got to do is challenge Reece before I can start over him and target getting some more senior appearances under my belt. It'll be Saturday, Tuesday for the first team, so I think it'll be amount of games that we have next year. Hopefully I get a lot of game time and be around the first team a lot so I can push on. So that, my fine fellows, ladies and gentlemen, that is the story on Danny Amos. He wants to keep progressing at the club, and you know what? He's one of our academy graduates, and I tell you what, fair play to the lad. Danny Amos, if you're watching this, I'm sure you're a lovely guy, pal. And, you know, congratulations on your 1-year contract. You showed amazing signs, like I said, in my season review. And, you know, Danny's going to be an integral part of this squad and, you know, keeping it progressing over the years to come under Darren Moore's management. And, you know, Danny Amos, like he said there, he wants to keep pushing for the first team. I tell you what, fair play to you, pal, because, you know, against Reece James, who's been absolutely fantastic this past season, you know, he was one of the best parts of the defence for me. You know, he was part of a really solid back four, and, you know, to have the courage to come out and say, I want to try and push for that back four, I want to try and push and get into it, fair play to you, lad, because that back four of Halliday, Anderson, Wright and James, right back, centre backs and left back in that order, you know, to push into that back four, I tell you something now, mate, that takes some guts. Because that back four was so strong for us last season. Yes, it could do with improvements, but you never know. Maybe Reece James could transition into a centre-back as well. And, you know, when Anderson or Wright gets injured, you play him. Or if Cameron John's coming back, you play him. But if Reece James isn't playing, Amos, you're in the squad. So I hope, from the sounds of it, he's very positive. And I think a lot of Doncaster players are very positive at the minute. I think since Kieran Sadley has gone, I think it's been a lot more positive. And I'm not blaming Kieran for that. No way. I mean, some fans can blame Kieran if they want to, but I'm not blaming Kieran for that. If he wants to move on, he wants to move on and find a new challenge. Fair enough. But I think since Kieran's gone, I think there's been less negativity around the club and there's been more positivity. And, you know, I think the fan support will only just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So, you know, I think Doncaster really are pushing for promotion next season, and I think that the positivity around the club at the minute is really, you know, thriving us on. And this is just another bit of positivity to add to the fire of positivity. Danny Amos wanting to progress, he's excited about his new contract, new extra year extension, and this extra year is a test now for Danny Amos to see how he does. Because if he doesn't progress, then I really don't want him to run out of contract and we lose him, because I think he's an academy graduate. You know, he is an academy graduate. He's one for the future, in my opinion. I think he's definitely one for the future. And, you know, I could see him becoming our first team left back in the future. So, hopefully Danny Amos can have a good season next season and get a lot more game time than he did this past season. Final story then, let's move on and let's talk about Nathan Baxter. So according to EFL Transfer Talk, at Transfer News EFL on Twitter, Swindon Town, Birmingham City, Sunderland, Derby County and Doncaster Rovers are all interested in Nathan Baxter. So for those of you who need a little bit of a reminder, Nathan Baxter is a goalkeeper. He is in the goalkeeping position, and that is something what Doncaster are looking to put strength and depth into. Now, Nathan Baxter, for those of you who need some stats on what he's done, he is a former youth from Chelsea. In fact, he still technically is part of the Chelsea squad. He was put on loan, though, at different clubs. He is, of course, 21, so he's still got a long way to go. However, he's still at Chelsea. He was an academy youth from Chelsea, but he's been loaned out to different clubs throughout his time at Chelsea. The 16-17 season, the first part of the 16-17 season, he was loaned out to Metropolitan Police. He was loaned out to Solihull in the 2017, and then 17-18 season he was at loan at Woking, 18-19 at Yeovil, and then 19-20 season, this past season, was loaned out to Scottish side Ross County. So that is the story on Nathan Baxter. Now, I'm not going to lie, having another Chelsea youth, obviously we spoke about the 18-year-old Chelsea Academy forward, Armando Broja, for a potential season long loan deal. If we possibly get a season long loan for Baxter, I mean, to be perfectly honest, this is nothing against Nathan Baxter, but I think there's better options out there than Nathan Baxter. I think he should go to a club in, like a mid-table to relegation League One team rather than someone like us who's pushing for promotion to the Championship. I think we can do better than Baxter, and you've got to keep setting the standard in each and every position that you need to improve in. Dieng was our former number one. He was on loan from QPR for 6 months, and then it was translated into a full season. So after those 6 months, so for that full season, this past season, Dieng was a fantastic goalkeeper, one of our players of the season. So you need to find someone who's going to fill that gap, who's actually going to be just as good, if not better, than Dieng. Because we know Dieng's probably not going to come back. So, looking at the options that we spoke about in the past, Baxter is not one of those that I think that's going to elevate us. Yes, Baxter is a great player, not going to lie. He showed loads of good traits, and I'm sure he would be a good signing if we did sign him. But I think there is better options out there. Alex Palmer, West Brom. Matej Kovar I spoke about from Manchester United. They've been impressed with how we treat our loanees, so that came about with the Garner interest as well. So I think that having Kovar and Garner at the club would be fantastic. Killing two birds with one stone. I think Kovar and Palmer are better options than Baxter. So I think that Baxter would be a better option at a different club, in my opinion. So there we go. So that is talking about the latest Doncaster transfer reports. I'll be back tomorrow with another Doncaster Rovers video, whether it be another transfer report, whether it would be a different video, who knows. But I'll try and make some daily Doncaster videos, no matter what it is, whether it's transfer reports or historic videos, whatever it is, I'll try and make it as quick as possible and as daily as possible. Just a couple of side notes. Charlton Athletic, apparently it's September the 14th, I think, 13th, 14th. That's the expiry date before Charlton, if they don't get a takeover done by the 13th, 14th September, that kind of mark, then Charlton get thrown out of the league, which is disgraceful because they don't deserve it. And that'll be another situation like Bury where they have to start again with an AFC Charlton or a Charlton AFC team or something like that in the lower London leagues. And of course, congratulations to Peterborough United. They've been given the green light on their brand new stadium, so massive congratulations to Peterborough. I would like to get down to London Road as soon as possible, since that's now on the close in a couple of years. So I want to try and get down to London Road at some point in the future. So hopefully we do get to do that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get to be able to experience London Road for the first and final time, before they move into the new stadium in a couple of years' time, depending on when they move in. So, thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And for now, guys, I'm the CHALL. Goodbye.